Abusia, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in fact, Ghana versus USA beef no afe na start fife. Mahama abe fire American President Donald Trump concerning the 10% tariff na or impose on Ghana. Just say goods you be carry every Ghana there America akoton. American President Donald Trump at the 10% tariff, that is tax out of so. Mahama said they no there. He won't buy that idea. Sa seminar Trump by can there or ne Trump enya adwene. Or nyintum say. Or nyintum. And also Czech Republic President Petro Pavel abedru Ghana for 3 days tour. Now in this video, remember who the entire Czech Republic President Abba Ghana Hanamo. Now first with the tax issue concerning Ghana and Americano. Matumba number the amount. A high Penyah block media. Measure any demo. Over like video and I will subscribe button and click the notification icon for the latest updates. I'm better than I'm ever conversation. Measure also baswa. No civil about us any be ashe. And then name one echoes concerning world trade business. Yeah, Tony, they ingredients and some for yourself a man in our home. Yes, name maintenance be a ebeb. Nina American President Donald Trump. What the taxes be about what to the kissing my ass? Kissing my ass. That tax is in the one. Said they are quite way past the taxes out of 12 months for months. As what about them? As what I'm read. American President, the tax is in the same way. Mama didn't tell the taxes out of 2 months for months. After the first, the second, and the third World War, a real senior crown him. Emma, American Kwan at that time, no, na oyo manya, ojina banana, just say, about economy, and ojina banana kakra, and sikawan in same, na owobi. At that time, an America being a world economic giant. Yes, because a real senior now crown him after the third World War, a real senior now crown him. Emma, Ebeka America, Omuna na hesi omu sika, dread a woman sem, sika woman who ewa resources are. Betime, ahwe ewiase edi American kwa editor so those time Emma now the foreign aid Emma other countries free of charge or the incentives come other countries free of charge say or manfo ni besia na or the be or the nearma air bro refugees or bremo nearma any other and America took the burden upon itself to take care of the world. Now 2025 Donald Trump ebetena kunya soro and was says that because of Adin American 4 years back actually America development of America actually quite because sika those time America spending on other parts of the world nanka America could have used to advance its economy. What I say nanka America bet me this can e dia ball mine ho brother e chiro mine ye but ye use this can e support other parts of the world. Trump e the adibia ba on to in aura operation recover all loss. Oh no dear no. Just say, sika be America president, America spend on every part of the world. No, it is time to get those monies back. And now, no, foreign aid to any other countries will come. Incentives could be will come. Even World Health Organization, America, because now America supported that organization with $500 million plus every year. We can just say, are they be about America car? Donald Trump will come an attempt to recover all these losses on other countries. Why impose tariffs on the world? I just say every nation be was some percentage of tariff. American president among Ghana there 10%. Now this 10% will say they be Ghana ye be exported there free aqua America aqua tono. There is a 10% tariff on it. Tibia ukura board or the body of US aquatonwa, there is 10% tariff on it. Over to 10%. A 10%. Ever home. Now, I know now, Ghana President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, already not see there be. Are the American President, any day. Ghana, ye drew me a henia. So only I know, I could down for more the taxes, bro, more. I didn't go here, more cry. Now, I don't know which day. Anti Czech Republic President Petro Pavel ebedru Ghana for 3 days tour. The obedient Mahama a meeting for flag staff half. Anna Mahama address the entire Petro Pavel wabedru Ghana.
Distinguished members of the media, it's indeed an honor for me to welcome the President of the Czech Republic, His Excellency Petr Pavel, who's on a 3-day state visit to Ghana. I also acknowledge the rest of the high-level delegation that accompanied him from the Czech Republic. This visit marks another milestone in the long-standing cordial relations that exist between our two countries and reaffirm the political, economic, and cultural cooperation that lie at the heart of Ghana's diplomatic engagement with the Czech Republic. Our two countries share a deep respect for democratic values and governance and human rights, and by nurturing these shared principles, we can engage in fruitful dialogue, exchange best practices, and foster mutual understanding. In our bilateral discussions this afternoon, we acknowledge the cordial and long-standing relations that have existed between Ghana and the Czech Republic, which date back to 1961, when we opened diplomatic missions in our respective countries, and have been reinforced over the decades through the exchange of high-level visits and opening of resident missions in our capitals. We also signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Political Consultation, a bilateral air services agreement, also known as Air Transport Agreement between Ghana and the Czech Republic. It is our hope that the implementation of these MOUs will reinvigorate and spearhead cooperation in various sectors between our two countries. In addition, we discussed the need to expand the frontiers of our relations and cooperation with the Czech Republic, both at the bilateral and multilateral levels. At the bilateral level, note was taken of potential for trade and economic cooperation. I'll therefore urge the private sectors of the two countries to come together to explore possible avenues for cooperation in various sectors of the Ghanaian economy. And I'm happy to note that tomorrow there's a business roundtable between Ghanaian and Czech businessmen. On trade, we noted that through trade and investment, this can serve as a bedrock of our economic relations, and more could be done to increase the low levels of trade between our two countries. In that regard, I noted that the African market has a population of over 1.3 billion people, and I extended an invitation to the business community in the Czech Republic to partner with their Ghanaian counterparts to take advantage of the opportunities provided by the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. At the multilateral level, I noted the long-standing and excellent tradition of cooperation between our two countries at various international fora, including the United Nations, and expressed the desire for such cooperation to continue. This includes voting on issues that are of concern to both of us, but also to support each other's candidates that are vying for international positions. In that regard, I called on Czech to support our candidature of Ambassador Mohamed Adam to the position of Secretary General of the United Nations Tourism Organization, and reciprocally for us to support Czech Republic for membership of the Security Council. I assured President Petr Pavel of my confidence in Ambassador Adams' ability to lead and cooperate with his colleagues to bring on board a strategic vision for the UN Tourism Organization. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, I went on to commend the government of the Czech Republic for supporting Ghana's healthcare sector through VAMED health projects and the construction of 12 40-bed capacity hospitals and 12 units of 2-bedroom semi-detached houses for hospital staff for the following beneficiary communities in Ghana: Jumapo, Kwabin, Nkwetia, Achiase, Swami, Drobonso, Sabronum, Manson Kwanta, Edukrom, Mim, Chidie, and Pong Katamanso. I raised the issue of the 50 Bridges project, which has been stalled by the debt exchange program. I urged our two countries to explore ways of re-engineering the project to complete the 50 Bridges program and also implement the second phase of 100 bridges. Furthermore, I acknowledge the continuous support of the Czech government led program of medical cooperation, which is commonly known as Medivac, which is aimed at providing healthcare to vulnerable groups, as well as the exchange of medical expertise and knowledge transfer. On the situation in the Sahel and Western African sub-region as a whole, President Pavel was briefed on the security situation and the measures being taken at the level of ECOWAS and the AU to address the issue of terrorism, violent extremism, and the return of military rule in the sub-region, and to restore normalcy to the affected countries. I added that Ghana is resolute in the fight against transnational threats and the promotion of regional peace and security, and welcomed the support of the Czech Republic in that regard. On the issue of climate change, Ghana and Czech Republic acknowledge that climate change stands as one of the most formidable challenges of our time that require collective action. We share a deep concern for the environment and recognize the urgency to combat climate change and mitigate its adverse effects. We agree that our institutions of state, academia, and business community must collaborate closely, leveraging our collective expertise and resources to adopt innovative solutions, promote renewable energy, and implement climate-friendly policies. We also discussed cooperation by the Czech Republic and Ghana in responsible mining, land reclamation, and cleaning of polluted waters, and introducing new sustainable mining practices to Ghana's small-scale sector. On the issue of vocational and technical training, I introduced the Ghana Labor Export Program to train youth in to international proficiency to be able to work on fixed terms abroad, and sought cooperation with Czech Republic for vocational training. I also noted that it was cooperation between the Czech Republic and the Defense Industries Holding Company, DHOC, that led to the revamping of the Kumasi shoe factory. We therefore discussed the possibility of further cooperation between DHOC and the Czech private sector to go into more industries for mutual benefit.
Now, how I encounter Santos, and obeti see Donald Trump, the 10% tariff, or they are to Ghana, eso. And I just said, Unia, Adia or their baby, we a wicked man. What I say, we a wicked, Adia or their baby, MY.
We all accepted a rule-based trading system, and it has served the world well because it has led to quite significant growth in GDP across the world. It is unfortunate that without resorting to the rules-based system, one country unilaterally decides to increase tariffs across board on all countries. A multilateral world serves us all better than unilateral world, where people just take decisions based on only their country's interests. We must look at the broader global partnerships and the global interests rather than just our parochial national interests. There were ongoing projects that were part of our bilateral cooperation, which were affected by the debt exchange because of Ghana's debt default. Ghana, in record time, was able to renegotiate our debts, and so we have completed the discussions with our bilateral creditors and with the Paris Club. And so what is left for us to do now is for the Ministry of Finance to open bilateral discussions on how those particular projects continue after the discussion of the debt. But bearing in mind also that Ghana is under an IMF program, and there's a cap of $250 million that we have to fit all those projects in. And if you look at all those projects, they far exceed 250 million. If we are taking them 250 million at a time, according to the finance minister, it will take us the next 50 years to finish all those projects. So we must also look at alternative means of financing. And Mr. President was very kind enough to draw our attention again to the EU's Global Gateway Program, which is meant to finance key infrastructural projects in developing nations. And I think that that's one of the areas we'll explore to see if we can get money from the Global Gateway, the EU Global Gateway Program, to continue and complete some of the projects that we have between us and the EU countries.
Donald Trump, MY, 820 diemu, Ghana mobo, Yanyo mobo, Ghana and Yanyo mobo, Yanyo mobo, Trump, Yanyo mobo, Hunyamobo kakra. It went in somewhere. His Excellency John Mahama, Akadiagun from Ediama American President Donald Trump concerning the 10% tariff on goods that will be exported from Ghana to America for marketing. What is your take and what is your view on that? Throw out your mom comment section. I Penyah Media.